I hate social media. From a personal life perspective, I could not care less about taking a picture of your food and showing the sunset. I do not care. But when it comes to business, it is completely different. Social media has completely changed my life for the better. And it's all because of me just putting myself out there and using social media as a tool to promote my business. Now, for a bit of context, I ran a video editing agency and I went full time. I think it was coming up 3 years ago now. And from that, the biggest driver to that is because of social media. So initially, I was sending people cold DMs on Instagram and Upwork, or Upwork, I was applying to their job posts for video editing. And the problem was is that at the time the account was, I believe, faceless. Like there was no profile picture of myself or anything at least professional. There was no content out there that actually shows proof of concept, because especially with video editing or really any service business or even products, you're trying to give the best foot forward and actually represent yourself in a good way. So for video editing, which is extremely visual, people, what's the first thing people do when they read your message? If they even read your message, they click on your profile, have a look. And if you've got nothing on there, it means nothing. You go into the sea where there's so many other people doing the exact same thing. Now, if you run a business, especially an online business, and you're not using social media, what are you doing? It makes a dramatic impact. I was speaking to someone the other day at church, and we're talking about what we aspire to be like and how do we get there. And then I mentioned the fact that for at church, the preacher is talking, he's given his message, it's going to maybe 150, 200 people, around about that. But then with social media, it is going to basically an infinite amount of people or billions and billions of people, because it can be sent to any country, any point of the world, and it can be watched infinitely amount of times. So for your business, that makes such a big difference. Now, I have been kind of going on and off with social media, and from the points where I was off, there was a bit of growth, like there was a big jump with my business, and then it plateaued. So, and because of that, is because I was able, from stopping social media, I had a little bit more time to focus on the business. And then once I was there, I was struggling to go to the next stage. And that's what social media initially enabled me. And this goes to marketing, more marketing in general. But if you're not promoting your business, how do you expect to get any leads or just get new business? Now, for myself, for maybe the past year, I've been relying on word of mouth and just referrals. And it's like it does steadily grow, but you've got no control aspect to that whatsoever. And the two things that got me off the floor and running a business is A, social media, and B, outreach. I was doing neither of those things and I was wondering why it's not working. So now I've gone from doing outreach to now launching ads. So I've launched that for the past few months, and then getting back into social media about a month in on YouTube. And then for short form, I don't currently do anything. I know I should and I want to. I just hate the idea of short form, because I feel like it's a lot harder to be yourself, because you've got those first 3 seconds that you have to captivate everyone's attention. And it's like you're kind of just selling yourself to the algorithm, which I really do not like. But that's kind of a problem on your face. And I think the biggest thing that stopped me from actually starting on social media was trying to have the best message and trying to look perfect, because there's always someone out there who's bigger than you. And no matter what situation you're in, you you always kind of, there's kind of that imposter syndrome. I think Alex Amosa was talking about it on a podcast with Tony Robbins. I believe it was that one, maybe another one. But he was talking about sometimes he just doesn't feel qualified to talk what he's talking about because there's people that are above him. But then that's what I've been struggling with. And then I've heard other points of ideas, and they're saying there's someone always below you who can learn from you. So if you're at step 3, there's always someone at step 1 who wants to learn from you and you can help. So I'm trying to adopt that mindset. But the problem that initially stopped me from starting, I was running a social media management agency at the time. Kind of, it wasn't really a business. It was more just bought a course and tried creating a business from that. Went fucking nowhere. But initially, what stopped me from starting is I didn't know what to talk about. And then I tried to look too polished. And then, especially with video editing, people use video editing, or a lot of people use video editing to cover up shit. That's not the idea behind it, video editing, or the reason behind it. The reason behind it is to amplify and enhance the message, not cover up a shit. There's that saying, you can't polish a turd. It's exactly that. If the fundamental message is terrible, the editing does nothing. And so the problem is, I was at the start, I managed to get going, and then at the start, I was focused from a content lens, it was an issue, but from an editing lens, it was good. So I got to learn the skill of editing, but I focused too much of it on editing rather than the actual message. And then that's where I kind of stayed stuck for a little while. But then on the other side of it, there's just trying to be perfect, and from a visual standpoint, editing, whatever. So what I'm trying to say here is that a big part of it is literally just starting and getting yourself out there, because at the end of the day, it's a muscle. You're not going to just be instantly strong or instantly good at something. You actually have to do the reps, develop it, get stronger, get better. So that's the main thing. And I think if I never started, I would have never learned the skill of video editing. I would have never been able to improve the skill of overall video production, and kind of with the cameras, lighting and audio and all that. So it's literally a matter of starting. And yeah, linking it back to the beginning, I think social media has got this bad reputation, or not bad reputation, but kind of this narrative that it's for kind of just showing off your lifestyle and showing the best moments, and it's just all fake. And I believe, from a personal perspective, I agree with that on the most part, because I could not care less. I'm a very introverted person. I do not really care about the wider opinion of myself or what people are seeing of my life. I do not care. I do struggle with people's opinions that matter to me. That's a bit of an issue. But I think from a social media perspective, yeah, personal life, social media, I do not care about. But from business, it is completely different. It just opens up so many more doors. It puts you in front of people where you never thought you could meet. Like, I remember when I was 18, I was washing dishes at the time, and then a client of mine was this 9-figure founder who ran a magazine publishing company. From my 18-year-old self, who was washing dishes for money at minimum wage while trying to figure out editing, then I got him on a retainer and was managed to quit my job. I would have never been able to do that without social media. And that was literally just having a profile that is kind of, it makes people at least open your message and give you the time of day to speak to people. Because I got that client from reaching out to someone, and then he brought me into a project with that client that he was working with. So without it, don't know where I'd be. So moral of the story, start posting without selling your soul, I guess. But yeah, appreciate it. Hopefully that helps someone. Definitely helped me get started. And yeah, have a good one.